afternoon, Austin.
Good afternoon. Hi.
Yes. So this is actually the first time we meet.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice to meet you again.
Lovely to meet you.
Yes. So please say hello to
Yeah.
the audience and do introduce yourself.
Sure. Hello. My name's Austin Kettle. I'm British, as you could probably tell from my accent. I'm the vice principal of a school called Promise. We're an international school in Yangon. I think that's probably the basics. Yeah.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to know, the basics?
Well, of course. How come you're here teaching in Myanmar?
Yes. Well, I'm here because my wife moved here. And I'm very fond of her, so I came with her. She works for an NGO, and when she was offered the job, I thought it sounded like a wonderful opportunity. And we both thought that Myanmar sounded like a fascinating place to be right now. So we arrived in 2016,
Yes.
in about August 2016. And of course, it's been a fascinating time to be here. We've seen so much stuff grow. Whenever we leave for 2 weeks, we find there are new shops when we come back, and something's changed. There's a new road, and everything's changing so fast, and the people are so keen to interact with us as foreigners. So we knew quite a bit about Myanmar before we came here. My wife had visited with work beforehand, and so we thought, yes, this would be the place for us for our next move.
I see.
Yes.
All right. Now, share with us the most memorable experiences you've had here.
Yes, many and various. I think the
Good.
typical ones.
I see.
So we've had wonderful trips to Bagan and to Inle Lake. Those are just wonderful places, really unlike anywhere else I've been. And you said memorable experiences.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, traveling around Myanmar and around Yangon has been memorable. I have a lot of memories from around Ledan Junction because I spend a lot of my time there, so
Oh, yeah?
in the
Me
traffic.
too.
And so lots of memories of traffic there. Most memorable memories, the first time I took a trishaw. That was a wonderful experience.
Oh yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, the most memorable experiences, as well as those big trips, have been the times when local friends have just been really generous and opened up their lives themselves
I see.
to my wife and I. And so going for dinner with friends, going into people's lives. I help teach English once a week at a children's home, and that's, for me, that's the most memorable experience in some ways. Yeah, building those relationships and getting involved in people's lives. I'm a people person, so I'm always those are the really memorable things for me.
Okay, good. So another thing which I'm sure all the watchers would be curious about is, who was your first Myanmar friend and how did you become friends with him or her?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, first, that's a funny one. I've lived in a few countries, so I've lived in France and Brazil as well. And I find that you make your first friends, and often your best friends, through getting stuck into a community wherever you go. So for me, I play football with some people once a week, and that's some of my close friends, so that's really good. They're all nationals, all locals. That's great. But for me, even more so than that, I'm a Christian. I go to church.
Oh, yeah.
And so my first week here, I found a church that was locally led, but they speak English, and so I went straight there. And that is my main community here. And so I think it was the guys I met there who we just instantly had this connection. So I'll tell you about two of them. One friend, Tunan, he goes by the name Zach. And he's like an entrepreneur. He's a fascinating guy. Right now he's over in America at Brown University on a student exchange program. And he does yoga, and he does videos, and he does all sorts of stuff. He's just hilarious. Really good fun to spend time with. So he's a really good friend. One of the first guys I met, we met in a small little group at church. And then from that same group as well, a friend called Thomas, who cut my hair yesterday actually.
Oh wow.
So he runs, he's much more stylish than me. He manages to make my hair look okay. That's quite an achievement. So he's a really good friend as well. We go for dinner occasionally. And both of them, they're really open, warm guys who've helped me understand Myanmar a lot better. And who have just worked so hard to communicate with me in English. It puts me to shame. They're really friendly, and they represent so much of what I've seen in all sorts of Myanmar people. That warmth, that openness, that willingness to get to know people and draw them into life. So yeah, Zach and Thomas. Yeah.
Thomas.
Yeah,
All right.
first and long lasting, I'd say.
I see. So the next question, which I'm sure would be interesting for the audience, including me, is what is one thing you like more about Myanmar students than your own country students?
They're well behaved.
They are.
Well, yeah. So in the UK, students are wonderful. Students are wonderful the world round, aren't they? I'm terrible the world round. I love teaching, so I enjoy time with students. I feel that the students I've met in Myanmar have been very eager to learn. They're keen to work hard. They generally are really good at getting things done, and they're keen to work with me as a teacher. And there's a real respect for teachers here, which isn't quite so much back home. If you talk to teachers from England generally, you'll hear lots of stories about, there's not that respect there should be. Whereas here, I've never felt that once. I've always felt the students are delighted to have the teacher arrive, and I've been shown such warmth and kindness as well as respect by students here.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you on behalf of all the
well, thank you all. Yeah.
Yes, I'm really happy to hear that from you. So you like that students are eager to learn and they're well behaved here.
Yes.
So on the contrary, which parts of Myanmar students are you not quite happy about? Which parts of them would you want them to improve?
Oh, it's a fascinating question because every student's different, aren't they? And so you've got hundreds of different things that are wonderful about students and hundreds of different things that are things we work on together. I think the thing that I've seen and that most teachers who come over from Britain and America see, as well as my friends in business. I have friends running businesses here, both foreigners and repats, people who come back. And they'll often say that the thing that Myanmar students most need to be aware of is critical thinking. And you've probably heard that. That ability not just to learn something, but to question it. And I think, what does that look like in a classroom? It looks like asking questions. And so it looks like a different relationship between the student and the teacher, being able to talk and discuss. It looks like thinking about where is the information coming from? Should I believe it? How much should I believe it? I think that kind of degree of, it's really hard for everyone. It's not the case that people in the West are really good at this. They're not. But it is worked into the education system. And at my school, we teach a Cambridge curriculum, and there's a real emphasis on developing critical thinking. And that can look like a lot of discussion. It can look like maybe less content sometimes, but really wrestling with the stuff you've got, thinking, why is this the case? Is it the case? That kind of thing. I tend to assume that my first year with students at our school, I'll be doing a lot of coaching and a lot of kind of almost giving permission to the students to think, to question, all that kind of thing, and developing those habits. But not just the first year, it carries on throughout. So if you're a Myanmar student thinking, what's the one thing I probably need to work on? It may well be that critical thinking, asking questions, and all that stuff I've just kind of run through at length.
Okay, good to know. Well, thank you so much, Austin, for agreeing to take this interview with me and your wonderful answers.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Yeah. This video is almost at the end, but there's just one more thing. So everyone, Austin happens to know some Myanmar.
Tiny bit.
Could you try to say goodbye to all of those watching in Myanmar?
I'll give it a go.
Yes. Let's hear it.
Myanmar tueme, Pima tuyin gobang.
Wow! Yeah! Very good job!
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so thank you again, and thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.